love fighting games. Well, more realistically, I love the idea of fighting games. The fluid gameplay, the flashy visuals, the act of outsmarting an opponent and pulling off crazy combos. The first fighting game I ever saw as a kid was Street Fighter, and it blew my tiny mind. It wasn't just a display of two players' hard work and talent, it seemed to be the closest thing someone could get to fulfilling an action hero-style power fantasy outside of training to become a hitman. To my young and impressionable mind, seeing professionals execute combos and special moves seemed almost like an art form. It was like watching an intricate dance, the way each player could seemingly analyze their opponent's tiniest misstep in order to predict their next move and react accordingly, only for their opponent to do the exact same. This resulted in a high-stakes tango where any slip-up could cause the entire momentum of the battle to shift against you, resulting in an explosive fireworks display of frame-perfect hits chained into combos. It was beautiful, and I had to try for myself. When I got home, I decided to purchase Street Fighter Third Strike, and once it downloaded, I was ready to begin my journey. I was a little worried that I would have trouble understanding the controls, but I already played a bunch of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. How different could it be from that? I decided to invite my buddy and future sample texter, Eric, over, since I knew he had a lot of fighting game experience. We sat down, picked our characters, and I was ready for Eric to show me the ropes. How hard could it be?
Alright, so what am I supposed to do?
So you're gonna press quarter circle forward punch.
Quarter? What do you mean by quarter circle?
Well, it's like down and then make it go forward and then punch
down
at the same time.
Okay, down forward punch.
Yeah.
Down forward punch.
Well, okay. But
why isn't it working?
Swoop it.
What do you mean by swoop? Like a knife? What do you?
Yeah, just like make it go circle. Go swivel.
Okay, like this, like this, like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Why is it not working? Why is it not working? Ah!
I did not play again after that. Admittedly, this was mostly my fault. The game was so precise and it was nothing like I had ever played before. It's a little silly that I got frustrated when I couldn't immediately pick up the controls. It was like being annoyed that I couldn't speak fluent French after sitting in one 101 level course. If I wasn't so stubborn as a kid, I would have given it more of a chance. But during that time getting my butt kicked by Eric, it made me remember one thing. Eric was a drummer, and a pretty good one at that. Back in high school, Eric would drum away, playing in bands that sold out entire backyards to dozens of people. Which, okay, when I say it now, it doesn't sound that impressive, but for high school, it was pretty cool. All that to say, when I looked over at him slapping his oversized box controller, I really saw those rhythmic skills at play. I said earlier in the video that fighting games to me seemed like this intricate dance. If fighting games were a dance, Eric could feel the rhythm and expertly move to the beat. And I was over to the side, tripping over my shoelaces one bar behind. Years passed, and I heard there was a new fighting game coming out. It had an amazing art style, a punchy soundtrack, a bunch of my friends were playing it, and best of all, it was being touted as the most beginner-friendly fighting game ever made.
Guilty Gear Strive.
Suddenly, that feeling of awe I had as a kid watching pros play came back. I downloaded the game and booted it up. Determined not to let myself get discouraged by immediately throwing myself into matches like last time, I entered the training mode. I was immediately impressed by how many modes there were for a complete novice like me. There was everything from combo tutorials to instructions on how to jump. Would this be the game that finally made the fighting genre click for me? Things were looking promising. The way the tutorials were set up, practicing character movesets had never been easier. Suddenly, I'm starting to get the rhythm of the game down. I process how motion inputs are performed, the timing on certain combos, character spacing, all the essential skills. I spent about a dozen hours in that practice mode, honing my craft till my knuckle joints were sore, until I felt I was ready to face my first online opponent. I was ready.
Go. Slap. Slap. Slap.
I had more chance of competing in the Olympics than I did successfully executing a combo in an actual online match. I spent all that time learning the rhythm of the game, but it wasn't enough. They say it takes two to tango, and I'd been practicing without a partner. After about 40 hours logged in Guilty Gear with nothing to show for it but mild arthritis, I set the game down and never really picked it back up. Years passed, and my passion for fighting games had all but died. Deep inside me, though, was this glimmer of hope that I would find the perfect game that would endear me to the genre. Then came Street Fighter 6. It had been years since I'd touched any fighting game not called Super Smash Bros., but on a whim, I decided to play this game. Once again with Eric. I remembered our last time playing Street Fighter, and wasn't hopeful that this would go well. But this time things were different. After choosing my character, I saw an option I had to select before the match was going to begin. Control scheme, classic or modern? Eric explained to me that modern controls were a simplified button scheme designed for newcomers just learning the game. My pride almost prevented me from choosing the quote-unquote easy option, but Eric urged me to give him a shot, that even though they can be restrictive for seasoned fighting game veterans, they're still completely competitively viable. I agreed to try them out, and it changed everything. Before we go further into the video, let's hear a quick overview of what modern controls even are from the man himself, Eric.
Classic control schemes consist of a 6-button layout revolved around using special moves with motion inputs, like quarter circles, DP inputs, charges, and whatever this is. In contrast, modern controls simplify this by bringing the 6-button system down to 4, light, medium, heavy, and special. Special moves can also be performed by simply pressing the special button in a specified direction. No motion inputs required. Usually, this comes with the downside of your special moves doing less damage. Fighting game veterans will likely be annoyed by this lack of control, but being able to input Zangief's 360 pile driver by just pressing one button? Now that's priceless. Modern controls have been an idea that developers have wanted to implement in their games for years. Games like Rising Thunder and Fantasy Strike helped pave the way for more simplified special move inputs. And now with the success of Street Fighter 6 and the upcoming release of 2XKO, where modern controls are the only option, it looks like the modern control scheme is here to stay. Now, let's be clear, there's way more nuanced differences, but that's a quick overview of what modern controls provide. You sacrifice more specific moves and a damage reduction for easier specials and auto combos. Back to Burge.
Everything was different this time I played. Instead of fumbling around with the inputs, I was able to quickly pick up the controls. I was having so much fun just messing around and learning the different fighters and special mechanics of the game. I even managed to give Eric a run for his money a couple times when he was testing out new characters. That night was one of the most fun times I've ever had playing a fighting game, Smash Bros. Included. And most importantly, I experienced something I never did with any other fighting game. Without having to stress over memorizing the complex inputs, I was able to relax and just start to feel the rhythm of the game. And now, since I've played the game so much and developed so many positive experiences with it, I'm motivated to put in that work and practice that I dreaded doing in the past. I want to learn combos. I want to look up character guides. Eric even helped me 3D print out a cheap hitbox so I can start to transition to classic controls without giving myself early onset arthritis. Now when I lab in training mode, it feels like I'm Rocky preparing for a big fight, not like I'm clocking into my 9 to 5. And the nice thing about learning classic controls after modern is that all fighting games have pretty similar controls. So once I get a hang of Street Fighter, I can go back to Guilty Gear and see what I was missing out on. But I'll always have love for Street Fighter 6's modern controls, for helping me learn the rhythm of fighting games. Hey everyone, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as me and Eric did making it. It's been so fun to see such a positive reception for our last 2 videos. Thank you guys so much for blowing them up. All the guys at Sample Text are working to make more videos in this style, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss them.
And for anyone who found the channel through Rivals content, don't worry, there's more of that in the works as well. My next video will cover my entire first month of competing, so stay tuned.
And from all of us at Sample Text, thank you for watching and see you next time.